What is going on, everybody? It is Jay here, your commissioner of the WPL. We are in Season 3 right now. I was just sitting on the couch, and I had an idea to make a video, and anyone who knows me knows that I just have to do it. So I wanted to make a video on just kind of like how to value Pokemon and what's good on a team and things like that. Because like you sit there and you're like, oh, let's prep for, say, Season 4. Hey, I'm excited. I didn't make the playoffs, but whatever. Let's get ready. Let's start looking at what's good. What do I want to go with? Do I want to go with the Sun team? Or where do I even start? What's my first pick going to be? Well, I'm going to go over a couple things just to kind of see. It might help you. It might fill in some gaps. It might give you some options. Might give you some ideas. Things you might want to throw on your team, or just, no, I'm not doing that. That sucks, Jason. Go away. I am playing this season, so I hope I'm not giving away too much of what I want to do. But honestly, I feel like this league is more so just to kind of help people get better at VGC, things like that. I know a lot of guys have made massive improvements. Like, for example, Space City, he was like 12th or 11th or something like that. Then the next season he finished 7th. Then this season he's 3rd. So he's definitely improved since he started. Same thing with Kyogre Canucks. His first season he was like 12th or something like that, and now he's 2nd. So a lot of guys have made giant leaps in just being comfortable playing the game and just having fun, just really enjoying it. So it's really what it's all about. Side note: don't take this too seriously, guys. This league, have some fun. If you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. It's plain and simple. I took a season off because I just felt like I'd rather spend more time doing stuff with the league and just coaching and stuff like that and helping everybody. And I really enjoyed it, but I'm going to get back on that horse and play for Season 4. So look out. I'm going to average the crap out of you because that's pretty much what I am. So yeah, you got the WPL logo here. Pretty cool. Thank you, Space, for making that. Haven't used it in a while. By the way, this is the first video I've made all season. I am super lazy. It's not like I've been working or anything, so I apologize for that. But yeah, I just it takes a long time to do editing, but this one is just going to be a friggin' spreadsheet. So I apologize for the lack of graphics and the lack of effort in this video. But yeah, let's just dive into the information and absorb it all in. So I'm going to start with speed control. So speed control is one of the most important things in Pokemon. You have speed control, you get to go first. Or if you want to go last, based on some moves having benefits from going second, you choose it. So controlling what your speed tier is in the moment, sometimes a very, very bad matchup, let's say, for example, a 4x weakness can turn into a very, very good matchup if you just have that speed control, because you both kind of OHKO each other, such as like, I don't know, Rayquaza or Sandslash, Alolan Sandslash, 4x weak to fighting, things like that, like Sakataka. And just things that have 4x weaknesses. You look at a matchup and you go, "This is a horrible matchup." Well, if you had a little bit of speed control, then now that's a good matchup. So I just made a little sheet here, and you can kind of see just different forms of speed control. There's others, but these are just the ones that everybody uses mostly, and a couple that you don't. So hopefully that helps out. Let's start with Tailwind. Tailwind is everybody's favorite speed control. Number one, because you can't, unless you stop the move from going off, once it happens, you can't stop it. See -1, -2, +1, +2, Airstream, blah, 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 getting stat boosts. They can be hazed, they can be clear smogged, they can be matched for that matter. Or you get a -1 after that, and you get +1, -1, and now you're neutral. So it doesn't really help you. Tailwind, you cannot stop. And it's also +2 right away. Which is what we're going to get into on other alternatives to Tailwind, in case you don't have it. But, so, as you can see here, I got Whimsicott, Talonflame, Tornadus. There's a reason there's a P next to those, is because that's priority. So it gives you a +1 priority, so you go before any standard priority move, just regular moves that are 0. No priority, no negative priority. Whimsicott, Talonflame, and Tornadus all have abilities to get Tailwind up before everything else, unless it's Fake Out or something at a higher priority, or another Prankstermon or another priority move gets to go before you. So that's another thing. So Whimsicott and Tornadus have Prankster. Talonflame has Gale Wings. Unfortunately, Gale Wings only works if you're full health. So if you have any chip damage on you whatsoever, you are no longer Prankster. But the bonus about Talonflame is its speed is so friggin' fast, it might not even matter. which brings me to the rest of them. So Tailwind can get up all these other ways. Some of them are really fast, like Aerodactyl and Noivern, things like that. They're incredibly fast. Not to mention Drift Blim once it gets like an Unburden boost, because its ability will get into that later as well. But yeah, Crobat, things like that, they're incredibly fast. They're very, very good Tailwind setters. And you also have other Tailwind setters that are bulkier. I kind of included either really, really fast or just bulky, or hey, I didn't know that got Tailwind, you know? So for example, like a Mandibuzz is very, very bulky. It's very, very hard to KO, even though you're going after. You might even go fourth in the sequence, you know, like every Pokemon goes before you, but you're so hard to kill, everything, you know, it doesn't really matter. You get Tailwind up at the end of the turn. Now you're +2 next turn, so it's even better. Yeah, a couple Pokemon people don't realize got Tailwind, Unfazant, things like that. Articuno, not really used a ton. Mantine. Mantine gets Swift Swim, so in the rain, it could get Tailwind up very fast. And it's also a special wall as well. But, yeah, I didn't realize this, but Archeops actually got Tailwind. I had no idea. So, and it's also very, very fast. So, that's a bonus as well. So, in case you're looking to get a Tailwind setter on your team, say you wanted to start it or just have one on your team for later, there's some pretty low-tier stuff like Articuno, Unfazant, Xatu, things like Frostmoth for that matter. Altaria is really bulky. So if you're looking for just someone that gets it on your team, these are all your options here. I think that's all of them, but there might be more. I might have forgotten them. I just went to Showdown and I literally made this sheet in like a minute. Not literally, that's a lie. But maybe like 10, 15 minutes. I just threw it together. Again, I had an idea. I just had to do it. I'll try to go a little quicker because there's a lot here. Other ways you can do speed control is get you a -1, and it's spread, so it can't be redirected. So Electro Web, Icy Wind, and Bulldoze. Two of them are very similar. One of them is used for different things, but there are ways you can make Bulldoze effective. So in the blue here, I've got all the Icy Wind users that I chose. They're usually fast or bulky. I've had, because a lot of the times you want to get your speed control up before they get their turn. So say something needs to outspeed, like a middle tier something like Metagross. You're going to want an Icy Wind or an Electro Web or a Bulldoze to go off before your opponents, so they get the -1 on their speed. Now Metagross is the fastest thing on the field, and it just obliterates everything like Metagross does. So I just included Porygon 2. I actually threw in here I/E, so it gets Icy Wind and Electro Web, so you have both. So if you're running into a lot of ground types on the other team, things like that, yeah, or Volt Absorb or Lightning Rod, which doesn't redirect it, it just absorbs the one and gives you the +1 special attack. But the bonus is you can pick and choose. You choose Icy Wind or Electro Web. They're both 95 accuracy moves, 95%. So they do miss. I have seen it before. Round finals, season 1. Anyway, I think that was a snarl, but I should have put that on here too. Oh well, that's the next video. But okay, so Blastoise, for example, very bulky, gets Icy Wind. Same thing as before. It doesn't necessarily have to be the fastest thing. It could be bulky, so it gets it off at the end of the turn. So next turn, now you're able to outspeed. Things like that. Politoed's really good at it. Gengar's really fast. Weavile's one of the best. Stab. And Ludicolo, another that's if it's in Swift Swim and the rain's up, now you have a very, very, very fast Icy Wind. Anything with double speed is probably outspeeding most other things. And down here we have the Electro Web users for the most part. I threw Metapod in here because I didn't know Metapod got anything. But it definitely gets Icy Wind for sure. Not Icy Wind, Electro Web, which is a big shock. It makes sense. It's a bug type, Pokemon logic. Yeah, and then down here we got Bulldoze. I only put, 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. Wow. I put 7 because every freaking Pokemon gets it, for the most part. There are way too many that get it. A lot of people only use Bulldoze for the to proc weakness policy on your partner. That's weak to ground. And the added bonus when you use it with Metagross, you proc Metagross's policy, it gives the other two Pokemon the speed drops. It doesn't give your Metagross a speed drop because it has Clear Body, which is actually why a lot of people use it. So yeah, so you can use Bulldoze to lower speed. You can pair it with something with Levitate or a flying Pokemon or something with Clear Body or whatever it is. And the other two Pokemon get the speed drop, and you don't because they're either not hit or they have an ability to not allow that. The forgotten speed dropping moves that are quite excellent: Cotton Spore and String Shot. Cotton Spore and String Shot lower both of your opponents, so the entire side of the field, -2. No one uses these. Why? I don't know. I really don't. Everyone's just obsessed with Tailwind. The bonus is Whimsicott gets both, so you can actually choose whether or not you want a Cotton Spore or you want to Tailwind. But like I mentioned earlier, Tailwind can't be stopped once it's done. The only thing they can do is lower your stats after. So you're +2 and then -1, so you're still up. And String Shot's really good as well. The reason you might choose one over the other, String Shot is 95% accurate, I believe. But the problem with Cotton Spore is it doesn't work against grass types or anything with Overcoat, I believe. I could be wrong on that, but mention in the comments below, yada, yada, yada. No, but yeah, I actually I had to make the decision not too long ago, Cotton Spore or String Shot. I actually had to change one. I chose Cotton Spore because it's 100% accurate, but then it was like, oh, there's grass types on the other side. Let's switch to String Shot, which is yeah, -2 speed. You're half speed. It's ridiculous. I don't know why people don't do it. Galvantula's really good. Galvantula gets String Shot. It also gets Electro Whip just in case you want the damage. Because neither of these two -2 moves do any damage. And it's funny because a lot of people use Scary Face. They're like, they just love their Scary Face, and it's just like, well, these things do the same thing, but they're against both of them. I don't get it. But again, forgotten moves. If you didn't know about that, great. If you did, and you're like, shut up, Jason, move on, I will do that. So here's some other moves. It's a lot of the times you don't really use these moves for the speed drop. It is 100% drop for these moves if they hit, but a lot of the times it's just a bonus. But hey, in a draft league, any stat drop that you need in the moment, it could be really helpful. Low Sweep is a fighting move. Rock Tomb's a rock move. Mudshot's a ground move. Scary Face is just it's a status move, so you can use it with Prankster. You see it a lot on Grimmsnarl, and I have down here Tornadus, Grimmsnarl, Thundurus. They're all Prankster mons. So Scary Face at a -2. It's Tornadus gets Tailwind, so you probably just use Tailwind. +2, -2, same diff. Thundurus, though, unfortunately doesn't get Tailwind, so I have seen Scary Face Thundurus. But yeah, so just a really fast Pokemon. Spectrier gets it, not Prankster, but it's incredibly fast. Lycanroc as well. Didn't know that it got it. So Lycanroc, not exactly the most used Pokemon in Draft League, but then you got Mudshot. Just listed a few down here, and Low Sweep as well. A lot of things get Low Sweep, so I just mentioned some good ones. Heliolisk is incredibly fast. Electivire does get Motor Drive as well, so you can boost its speed with, say, a Discharge, and then you can Low Sweep or whatever it might be. It might even get Electro Web as well. It's not a popular Pokemon to use in Draft League, but it can be deadly. But yeah, that's it for speed control. And just off to the side here, I think it's obvious. We do have Trick Room. I didn't even bother listing any of them. You guys know what Trick Room is. Trick Room, if you don't know what it is, it's a -5 priority or -6 priority. It goes last. Let's just say that. It goes last. So you can taunt it. You can like imprison, things like that. So like Trick Room is really deadly if you have redirection or you have a bulky Pokemon, or you got a mental herb on the Pokemon, so you can still get it off. But yeah, it just flips the priority of the speeds. So the slowest goes first and the fastest goes last. So Trick Room, it can make a very, very strong team a horrible team because the priority that you had in order, say, procking a policy because this is faster than this, now it goes after, so it doesn't really do any good for you. And not to mention a lot of the Trick Room setters that set Trick Room, they're incredibly slow, and now they're going first. So a Dusclops in Trick Room is very deadly because it could just make your life very, very hard. And just things like that. And really, really slow Pokemon that have high base stats. Now they're the best Pokemon on the field as opposed to the worst in just standard non-Trick Room mode, right? Yeah, so Trick Room's a very, very good form of speed control. If you predict someone's going to use a Tailwind or something, you could always just set Trick Room the same turn. Not to mention, if they're setting Tailwind, they're not attacking you, so which is really nice. So yeah, it's just a little strategy like that. Having speed, I put this first because this is literally the most important thing. You choosing when you go is, I would say, the most important thing. More important than anything. Obviously, you have to do damage too. You don't win, but you don't win from speed control. But you have all of these pieces, and chances are you'll do very, very well. The better teams in the league, they're all about controlling speed if they need it. If their Pokemon are mid-tier, things like that, 80, 90 base speed, maybe 70, 75, they're usually not able to outspeed things, so a -1 makes them very, very good. So that's it for speed control. I also had an idea for immunities. So in Draft League, like, a lot of the times you want to put yourself in a situation where you have answers to most situations. So one of the most helpless feelings ever is when someone's on the other side of the field, and they're about to do an insane amount of damage to you, and you can't switch out, you can't take the hit, you can't ally switch, something's dying. So a lot of the times it's very, very nice having one of these moves, or these abilities actually. So it's not a move. It just makes it so it's a safe switch in. So I'm not saying this is what wins you tournaments or wins you games or whatever it is, but in a draft league, if someone's best Pokemon is an electric type, having something like Moto Drive or Lightning Rod or Volt Absorb, it's a good switch in for you to be able to have in the moment. It's very situational. That's why I believe in draft league it's very important. It could make someone's team that's just wiping everybody every single week. Now, because you have that, now they have to go another route because they don't exactly have, they don't have another way of beating you. Or they just decided to go with their best foot forward, and you just have this in your back pocket. So we'll just go through them quickly. Hyper Cutter, White Smoke, and Clear Body. They're almost the same thing. White Smoke and Clear Body, they're the same. They prevent any stat drop, which is very, very big. So, like, obviously the H is Hyper Cutter. I'll go over that in a second. So, Torkoal, Centiskorch, Heatmore, they all get White Smoke. Can't lower their stats if you have the ability on, which is really, really nice for Centiskorch because it's a physical attacker. Heatmore is a special attacker. Not many people use Heatmore, but who knows? I might draft it. Heatmore needs some love. So we've got those three moves, and then obviously Clear Body. A lot more Pokemon get Clear Body. Dragapult, very, very well known for using Clear Body. Same thing with Metagross, as we mentioned before. Most of the Regis, I don't think the new Regis get it, but Regirock, Regice, and Registeel all get Clear Body. So they're very, very. That's a lot of the times they boost their own stats because they can't be lowered, but they can be hazed. So just be aware that you can do that. And I threw Tentacruel and Kling on there. Tentacruel not being able to lower its stats, it does get moves like Swords Dance and stuff like that. I think Season 1 Justin had it, and he Swords Danced, and I think it got to like a +5 or 6 or whatever, and no one could do anything about it because he can't lower its stats. So yeah, it's a very, very scary ability, very, very good. Not to mention Tentacruel does have the same weakness as Metagross when it comes to Bulldoze. So a Tentacruel with Clear Body and Weakness Policy and Clear Body can be quite deadly. Tentacruel is very low tiered as well. Same thing. Hey, look at that. Kling as well. Another weakness to ground. Go Bulldoze. So yeah, that's just pretty much that. Hyper Cutter, it just makes it so your attack can't be lowered. There's another move called, I think it's Big Pecs or something like that. Can't lower your defense. It's horrible. But it's the kind of thing. Same thing as Hyper Cutter, but Hyper Cutter's for attack. But the bonus is these three Pokemon are attackers. So you can't be intimidated because you can be intimidated. It's just it doesn't work. It doesn't lower your stat. I would have to see if it works with Adrenaline Orb because that would be really, really nice. Kingler with a +1 speed, being intimidated, but it doesn't lower your stat. So I would have to kind of check on that. If you're looking for something like that, that's immune to Intimidate, Defiant is not the only way to deal with Intimidate. You could always go with something with Hyper Cutter. Kingler also gets other really good abilities as well. So Kingler's a solid Pokemon. Gets Sheer Force and gets one more as well. It's pretty good, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, three Pokemon that get it. Crawdon's insanely high attack with can't have adaptability because you have Hyper Cutter. but based on the week, it may come in handy. So keep those 3 abilities in mind. Just looking at Pokemon differently, you could always just search these abilities as well, see what else gets them, just in case I miss anything. Say you're late in the draft and you have like a D tier pick left. Who knows? Something with Clear Body or one of these abilities could save you. And we'll get in some really good ones as well. Screw Colossal. Seriously, I hate Colossal. It's going to be picked in the first round. Everyone's going to love it, and it's going to destroy things. So we're just going to skip over that. Never mind. Just in case you didn't know what Steam Engine was, if you're hit by a fire attack, first of all, it's not going to do any damage because it's 4 times resisted. It does a quarter damage. And if you're hit by a water attack, it's 4 times super effective, but now you just gave him +6 speed. So now it's insane. I think if it's like high speed or whatever, it gets to like 300. It's just something ridiculous. So we'll just leave Colossal alone. Stupid Colossal. I'm deleting you. Get out of here. So Flash Fire, another really good switch in. Most of these do the same thing, but I'll explain the differences. Flash Fire, it boosts your next not your next. I believe it just boosts all of your fire attacks until you switch out or die. So it could work really well if you're expecting like a heat wave or something like that. You switch in. First of all, you take no damage, and second of all, now your fire attacks do a lot more. Like Chandelure has like 145 base special attack. If that switches in on a fire attack, this thing is just destroying things. A lot of the times you scarf it, so like a choice scarf on a Chandelure, it switches in on your heat wave or your flare blitz or something like that. First of all, you take no damage, and now you have an insanely fast Chandelure with a scarf that's about to heat wave something with boosted attack, fire attack, right? Sometimes it has overheat, so it just obliterates things. So just ways to look at Pokemon differently. Arcanine, it's got 3 amazing abilities. Justified, which we're going to get to. Intimidate, which we mentioned from the last column. And also Flash Fire, not commonly used, but situationally can be. And look at Heat more there again. Another cool ability. These are more common ones. So Dry Skin, Storm Drain, and Water Absorb. Storm Drain and Lightning Rod are awesome because it redirects the attack. The other ones just absorb it, make you take no damage, and also boost some sort of stat, whether or not it's recovering HP or boosting your special attack or boosting your speed, things like that. But really, all of these I'm just putting these here just for just switch-ins. So like they're safe switch-ins if you're expecting that. So pairing one of these Pokemon that you can switch in on a fire attack, a water attack, an electric attack, a ground attack, a grass attack, and a dark attack, that's quite a few different things. So you can pair it with something that's, say, incredibly weak. So like a Kartana is incredibly weak to fire. You can switch in safely expecting one. Like who looks at a Kartana with a fire Pokemon on your side of the field and just doesn't obliterate it? Like it just dies, especially if it's on the special side because it's got no special attack. It's very, very hard to resist. If you're a really good player, you can assume the switch in, things like that, or assume a protect or things like that. But just having the switch in as an option is really nice. I also didn't put in heat proof as well. Bronzor, Bronzong get heat proof as well. So let's just throw that in there. Bronzong. I'll just put it underneath. Yeah, so Bronzong gets Heat Proof, and it also gets Levitate as well, which are 2 really awesome abilities. You don't know what it has until you actually attack with it, and you might waste a turn and might lose the match on that one turn. So Bronzong's a solid mon, having to guess. But yeah, let's go into the abilities for the water. So you got Dry Skin. Dry Skin, it absorbs all water attacks, like Water Absorb, but unfortunately now your fire attacks are super effective. They do an extra 50% damage, which is, no, super effective is ×2, I believe. Dry Skin, you just take 1.5. I could be wrong. Just look up the ability. I just know it's more. So Pokemon with Dry Skin in the sun, it's not good. But yeah, in the rain, it recovers HP, and it also absorbs the water attacks, which is really nice. So like I said before, predict a water attack coming in. You can also use Surf. I believe Season 2, Space City was using Surf next to his Dry Skin Heliolisk. And it was just, first of all, it wasn't doing any damage. And second of all, it was absorbing it. It was healing it. So it was actually a really cool strat. So pair that with, say, a Focus Sash. You take chip damage from an attack or whatever. Now your Surf heals you up to full. Now your Focus Sash is back in play, which is really, really nice. So nice job for him. Storm Drain, like I said, it redirects it. So any single attacking water attack is actually redirected to the Storm Drain mons, such as Maractus, Gastrodon, Credilli. I threw Lileep and Shellos there as well. No one's drafted it, but if you wanted to, say, protect something that's super, super weak to water, you could always just put this in the back, switch in. Now you take no damage from a single attacking water move. And not to mention, it gives you a +1. So Gastrodon switching in, yes, you use it defensively, but now Gastrodon at a +1 can kind of go off with other attacks that it has, being dual ground and water. So those two types of attacks are quite strong. Not to mention setting rain, blah, blah, blah. Things like that. So if we just look at the dry skin users, Toxicroak, Jinx, Heliolisk, the Storm Drain, I mentioned them as well, and Water Absorb, you have Lapras, which a lot of people run, Lantern, Mantine, Seismitoad, things like that. You're starting to see the same Pokemon used again and again on these lists, so you can always just use them. They're very versatile. They can be used different ways. For example, like Lantern. Lantern, as you can see, gets Volt Absorb and Water Absorb. So it's, again, you don't know what it has until you use the attack. It absorbs it, and it might just be the one thing on your team you need for a certain week. I won't go too much into the electric stuff because it's almost the same. Motor Drive, if you're attacked, I don't believe it redirects it. I just think if you're hit by it, it boosts your speed and you take no damage. So you can use it with, say, Emolga or Electivire, things like that. Electivire doesn't have the fastest speed, so using Discharge next to it with a really fast Pokemon attacks everything on the field, but you don't take any damage. You actually get the speed boost. So, and not to mention, as of Gen 8, so now the speed is actually redone mid-turn. Before it wasn't like that. So you had to wait till the next turn for the new speed tiers to be put in place. Sword and Shield made it so now it happens immediately. So a really fast Pokemon using Discharge, such as Tapu Koko or Raichu, things like that. Very, very fast Pokemon. Electivire next to it takes the Discharge, gets the +1 speed. Now it just starts boosting and obliterating things because it's very strong. Very cool tech. Haven't seen it used in the WPL yet, but we'll see if somebody uses it. Very defensive. You can put it next to something 4 times a week to electric. A lot of people, they get Raichu next to a water type that's susceptible to it, like a Gyarados. Very cool strategy. And again, you got these 3 Pokemon here that have Volt Absorb. Same thing. You switch in on it, heals you. You don't take any damage. A safe switch. Levitate, same thing. All the Rotoms get it. Hydreigon gets it. Vikavolt, which is not many electric types have the Levitate ability. One does that's not in the game. I believe it is Electros or something like that. Bronzong, like I mentioned before, and Haunter. So Haunter is very low tier, so like a D tier. Gets Levitate, so you can just switch in safely, and you can just play some mind games, either Stalin or Dynamax, because Max Quake is just so strong, boosts your special defense. Haunter switches in, first of all, takes no damage, and you waste a turn of Dynamax. In a Dynamax format, all of these abilities are actually very good. If you can predict it at the right time, finding like versatility for Pokemon. So say you already wanted something with, say, Sap Sipper, and you're just like, oh wait, this thing also gets speed control, like I mentioned in my last sheet. And same thing with the healing, and I've got other abilities. So you kind of have to play out exactly what you want on your team, but I believe that the more versatile a Pokemon is, the more likely it is to be drafted, and the more useful it'll be on your team. So just keep that in mind. And obviously Justified and Justified. See, the thing about these ones, Sap Sipper and Justified, they boost your attack if you're hit by them. So not only, well, Justified, you take damage. So unfortunately, this is the one that stands out as different from the rest. You take damage, but it gives you an attack boost. So obviously, we've all seen the beat up strats, things like that. You know, some of these Pokemon just completely resist the dark attack. Like Lucario, it just resists it like crazy. And Absol as well just resists it. So yeah, combining speed control and some of these attack immunities, it gives you a safe switch in. And it just gives you the option to just go on the offensive, whether or not you get the speed advantage, the special attack advantage, or the physical advantage. But yeah, so just have a look at this. You could always just rewind the video and screenshot it if you want to. Hopefully this helps a bit. I didn't really want to do this slide healing because not too many Pokemon get it. But, you know, there were a couple of things to mention as well. Pollen Puff's one of the coolest moves in the game. I actually don't know why Pokemon made it, or Game Freak made it. It's an attack that you can use as an attack or healing by using it against your partner I think is broken. Rabambi's just really, really strong. But Rabambi's a great pick because it gets Pollen Puff as well, and it's Stab as well. So if it's not going to heal its partner, it's just going to use a Stab Pollen Puff against your opponent as well. So it's very, very good. Amogus being as bulky as it is. And I just thought I'd throw this on there. Calyrex Ice gets Pollen Puff. Thought it was kind of funny. Get out of here. Not a serious... hey, someone's probably done it. Someone in a tournament somewhere that didn't do very well. Heal Pulse. Clawitzer gets... what's that ability called? All the pulsing moves, they're boosted. So Heal Pulse is included in that. I think it does like 75% healing instead of 50. So Heal Pulse is really good. And Clefable, Clefairy, they're really good as well. It's funny, guys are responding to me too late. I asked them to help me do commentary for this video. Actually, hold on. It might be too late. Like I might mess it up. And actually, one second. Let me see if I can add them. If I mess this up, just skip in the video. Let me see. Where is it? You know what? Screw it. I'll just do it later. Whatever. Snooze, you lose, guys. And obviously, Comfey. Comfey with Floral Healing. It gets the Triage ability, which anything that heals. It gives you a +3 priority, which is actually the same as Fake Out, which is actually bonkers. So any slow or Fake Out users, Floral Healing will go first. Or any healing move, such as... anything that heals yourself, like Giga Drain or Draining Kiss, things like that. But usually Floral Healing is what heals your partner, and it goes first, which is incredible. So Comfey is a fantastic pick. It doesn't do a whole lot more than that. It does set Trick Room and a couple other things, but it's basically there to heal. So yeah, kind of cool. Yeah, so these are the Pokemon that get those moves. There might be a couple more, but if you want healing on your team, I would recommend Rabambi or Comfey. They're really, really good. And if you already had these other Pokemon on your list, just letting you know they also get these moves as well. So just added bonus. Moving on to the next one. Other nice abilities. I wasn't quite sure. I kind of wanted to make the video for the speed control and also the abilities as well for switch-ins, but these are not needed in a draft league, but it is very, very nice to have more tools in your toolbox. A lot of guys, like when I talk to them about draft strats, they're like, "Oh, I need an Intimidate user." And I go, "Why?" You're like, "You don't need one. There are other ways to do Intimidate things, and also Intimidate can hurt you in the end. Sometimes if you have, say, Defiant, or you switch in on something with Clear Body, it just doesn't work. Or Adrenaline Orb, you actually just gave them a plus speed. So sometimes it hurts you, but a lot of the time switching in and out Intimidate, if they're not ready for it, can really hurt them. So Intimidate is a really good ability. But again, the more roles you have, I believe it helps you. So having access to Intimidate is really nice. And a lot of the times these other Pokemon get other abilities. So like a Gyarados gets Moxie, same thing with Crocodile and things like that. Arcanine gets Intimidate, Justified, Flash Fire, and things like that. Blaze, Incineroar, that's the thing. But yeah, Hitmontop gets Technician. It's just... you don't necessarily have to run Intimidate, but it definitely gives your opponent something to think about. Chlorophyll, Swift Swim, Sand Rush, and Slush Rush. This all doubles your speed in the appropriate weather, which just happens to be next to it. So Chlorophyll is affected by Drought, which is the sun. If you're in the sun, it doubles your speed. Drizzle, Swift Swim, same thing. Sandstream, Sand Rush, and Snow Warning, Slush Rush is for hail. If you just look at this list, I've noticed that more Pokemon get the ability that boosts your speed rather than what does the boosting. So if you're drafting, yes, Venusaur is fantastic. Everybody loves it, things like that. Or Kingdra or whatever. There's only 2 Drizzle users in the game. There are other ways to get up weather. So if you're actually looking to run a weather team, maybe grabbing one of these first might actually be your way to go. So if you want to run a rain team, maybe Politoed needs to be picked first, because a lot of these Pokemon do the same things. They hit very hard, they're very fast in the rain, and you know what I mean? But there's only 2 of these. Season 1 I got stuck with a Pelipper, and I really wanted Politoed, but he was picked before me. I think he was picked first round. There was 15-16 because he had the last pick, so he goes 2 in a row. But yeah, so you don't want to grab, say, a Seismitoad and be like, oh no, I don't have my Rain Setter. Or, okay, I'll grab myself a Venusaur, and it's like, oh no, Torkoal and Ninetales are gone. I'm stuck with Vulpix. Which I put it there for exactly that reason. If you are you do need that weather, Vulpix is very, very frail, but you could always throw a Sash on it, and it does its sun stuff, and it does other things. It's just very frail. So I've seen it. I've seen people run a Hippopotas and stuff like that, which is also down here for setting the sand. So these are all the Pokemon that either they were all of them or just the ones worth mentioning. And there's like Mantine and stuff like that in the rain, which is really cool. But yeah, so you could always look up these abilities in Showdown and see if there's something you want to run in the weather. Then you could always just go with these. But these are the ones that set it. These are the ones that benefit. There's other abilities as well, such as Sand Force, which boosts, I believe it's Ground Rock and Steel. I believe I could be wrong. Don't hold me to it. But it gives it a boost of power rather than the speed. So there's other ways you can do it as well. I think Excadrill gets both. So if you already have Excadrill is already faster than you need, then you could always just run Sand Force, and it does just fine. Okay, so now let's go over to Magic Bounce. Only 3 Pokemon really get it. So Magic Bounce, if you're expecting some sort of status move, you could always just hard switch this in right before they do it. Again, you have to predict when it's going to happen. These things are very frail sometimes, so if you switch in and you guess wrong, you're dead, and it could lose you the match. But switching in on, say, a Will-O-Wisp or something that like lowers a stat that could really, really hurt, bouncing it back at them could incredibly hurt. Say like a Thunder Wave sometimes ruins your plans because now you're slower, and there's like a quarter chance you don't even do anything. So yeah, a timely switch in with Magic Bounce is nice. There are other shenanigans you could do with Magic Bounce as well. But I'll let you guys kind of look those up. Weedle Twin Needle does some fun stuff with that too. So I threw these side by side because they're really, really neat when worked together. So you have the Surges. So it sets the terrain. So whether or not it's misty terrain, grassy terrain, electric terrain, and psychic terrain, they all have their benefits and detriments. So I'm not going to go through all of it, but the reason I wanted to do that is because setting the terrain right away, sets your terrain. So say someone uses a max move and it's benefiting them. Say you've got a Spore team and you're trying to put them to sleep and they set electric terrain. You can't put them to sleep, so now your strategy is kind of moot, right? So by switching in one of these Pokemon, it sets the terrain to what you want. Just don't do Misty Terrain or Electric Terrain again. Don't, because that doesn't help you at all. But yeah, the other terrains are very nice as well. But the reason I put it next to Unburden is throwing the Psychic Seed, Electric Seed, Misty Seed, and the Grassy Seed. Unburden, once the item is used, it doubles your speed. So just have a look at their moves. Like, what would you like to go first? Slurpuff gets after you, which is really, really nice when it's incredibly fast. Hitmonlee gets coaching. Thievul gets Snarl. Hawlucha just goes off. This also works with weakness policy as well. So if you proc a policy, your speed is now doubled, and you have the +2 on both attack stats as well, attack and special attack. So a lot of these can be sweepers. I think Unburden's probably the most underused ability in Draft League. It's incredibly good, especially in a Dynamax format. Doubling your speed and doubling your attack stats it's ridiculous. A lot of these, and the bonus about having the Unburden ability with that item is you can actually not have to invest in speed, because a lot of Pokemon that are double speed without any investment at all still outspeeds everything you need to outspeed. Like Excelgor, for example, it's already incredibly fast. Driftblim's pretty quick. Sceptile's really fast, so you can just do bulky. Slurpuff's really bulky as it is, so you can just make it more bulky and fast, and just things like that. Like, some of these Pokemon have like average speed stats, like Hitmonlee is like 87 base. Not incredible, but when you double it, Yeah, it's really fast. It outspeeds when it needs to outspeed. So yeah, I threw these side by side. So I like little shenanigans like that. So Unburden with the seeds and weakness policy, and there's other things you can do with Unburden as well, not necessarily with those two things. But yeah, I just thought I'd include these. The other abilities, there's other ones as well that are really beneficial. These are just the ones that stood out to me. Again, I made this in no time at all. But yeah, let's go over to my last one. So other nice attacks. So going back to what I started the video on, just kind of saying, hey, I'm doing my draft prep. Where do I start? This is not a starting point. I've seen guys start, well, I need a fake out user. I need something to switch out. I need a follow me user. I need this. And it's like, these are not needs, guys. You don't need them. If you want to run like a belly drum or something like that, then okay, yes, to make that work, it works the best with follow me. I would not recommend this. So a lot of guys, what they do is say, oh, I can't get follow me. I'll just get rage powder. It's fine. Do not do that. It is not a reliable form of redirection. You cannot count on someone whether or not they have safety goggles or not. If you belly drum, you just take half your HP away, and then you might, go back to up to 75% after using a berry. But now you've already damaged yourself, and if your redirection doesn't work, you die. A lot of the times you see it. It's just unreliable. Not to mention grass types are immune to it. If you have overcoat, you're immune to it. There are way too many things to completely rely on rage powder. Rage powder is great. Don't get me wrong. It's just, do not rely on it. Like if, say, rage powder's in the back row, your safety goggles user on the other team was brought out first thinking you're going to lead it. They didn't lead it. Now he has to think, oh, does he even have it? Whatever, I'll just switch out, or it dies. Now you bring in your rage powder user in the back. You're not setting up with, say, Swords Dance or Belly Drum, but now your attacking Pokemon isn't getting hit because you got rage powder, and Amoonguss could be a big pain. Or say Tangrowth on the defensive side or something like that. It's just, it's not a reliable form of redirection, but it is still redirection nonetheless. So I just don't want guys to look at this list and say, oh, okay, well, Jason says I need these. No, don't do that. I'm not good. Don't do that. This is just Pokemon theory, what can work, and just things that makes you think. But yeah, unfortunately, there was season 1. I had Tangrowth. I was facing a beat-up Cobalion team, and I went, oh, well, I'll just use my redirection, and he can't beat up. And I'm praying, don't have safety goggles. Don't. Sure enough, his Weavile didn't have safety goggles, beats up his Cobalion, I get destroyed. So it's, unfortunately, Rage Powder is not the greatest. It's just nice. Don't rely on it. Just have it just in case. It's really nice to have, especially if you don't have it. But that's enough with me and Rage Powder, and yeah. Another form of redirection is actually Storm Drain and Lightning Rod as well. It's not super reliable. It's less reliable than the Rage Powder because it only draws in water attacks and electric attacks. And if you use like Electro Web or Discharge or something like that, it doesn't draw in the attack. It just makes it so you don't take any damage, and you do get the boost from the special attack. But if someone's going to use Volt Switch or something like that, yeah, you can have your Lightning Rod user, or something's going to use Thunder or T-Bolt or something like that. Yes, it's a great form of redirection. But yeah, if you wanted to see those Pokemon as well, that's on the last slide. Just rewind the video. I'm not going back. Switching in and out. So Flip Turn, U-Turn, Parting Shot, Volt Switch. Those are ways you can kind of get in and out. And just a lot of the times that you use these on either really fast Pokemon to kind of switch in, switch out before you take any damage into something that will take it, mentioning the other sheet over here, like the nullification. So Volt switching into something that can take a Storm Drain or something, or use its Storm Drain or Flash Fire or Levitate or things like that. It's a really good strategy. So pairing those are really nice, but also something really slow. So having Parting Shot, U-Turn, Flip Turn, Volt Switch on a slow Pokemon, say like Serena or Incineroar or something like that, it's really nice because those are bulky Pokemon. So they can take the hit, then switch out with it, doing a little bit of damage, could either knock off a Focus Sash or finish off a Pokemon that's just about to die, or do a serious amount of damage because U-Turn is decently strong, Volt Switch is decently strong. And it also gives you a free switch. If you attack last and you use the switching move, it's way better than actually just hitting switch, picking a Pokemon, they go in, and now they get hit by something. So a slow Pokemon with any of these moves that switch in and out are really awesome, or something that's incredibly fast is really nice as well. And a lot of the times you see these moves on Pokemon that have Assault Vest. So it's usually like that fourth move. So Rillaboom, you usually see U-turn on it when it has Assault Vest. And also keep in mind, if you see a Rillaboom with U-turn, it's probably AV'd. Not many people are running U-turn and Protect and things like that. So that's just another little cheat code. If you see Parting Shot or Volt Switch or U-turn or whatever, or Flip Turn for that matter, chances are they're AV'd or they don't have Protect, because it's really hard to fit these moves on. They're usually just a luxury. They're not so much you win with it. It's more so it just kind of helps you in the situation, and it does a bit of damage. Hey, a Volt Switch from certain Pokemon, it does stupid damage. It does more than half their health or KOs or whatever it might be. And then you got Fake Out, obviously. Very, very fast Fake Out is really, really nice. Weavile's the fastest Fake Out user in the game, which is really nice. Slower Pokemon that get Fake Out is really nice because it makes up for their lack of speed. The Hitmons are pretty slow, but Fake Out's really nice on them. Jinx is very fast. So say, for example, there's 2 Fake Out users. The faster Pokemon's Fake Out goes first. So having a Weavile or something like that is really nice because you know that no one's going to fake you out. And not to mention Sneasel, which is not on this list, gets Inner Focus, so it can't be faked out. So a Fake Out Pokemon with Inner Focus is almost just as good as being faster Fake Out. So I'm just going to end off the video here. I haven't made a video in forever, but honestly, I've been talking to guys. They're getting better, things like that. They're really appreciating the help. And also this video can just sit there. It's not a now video. It's more so just, hey, if you want to learn, this is just some stuff. I'm not great, but I do know a bit about Pokemon and battling and things like that. So I hope this helps. I'm going to go eat some dinner because it's dinner time. Happy 4th of July, everybody. And hopefully you got a little bit better at Pokemon. And yeah, have some fun tonight. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. And yeah, good luck in the playoffs, everybody. Starting next week. Peace.